The rise of the House of Stuart in 1603 marked the beginning of a turbulent new chapter for England. For decades, Elizabeth I had provided stable rule. Most people alive had never known another monarch. But with James I now on the throne, massive changes in religion, politics, and economics created challenges that would soon plunge England into chaos. In this video, we'll watch as England tears itself apart through civil war, revolution, and religious conflict, all while laying the groundwork for what would become the British Empire. The growth of Parliament. Parliament had been gaining power for centuries, often clashing with the Crown over taxes since the 100 Years' War. Under the Tudors, it became essential for major reforms like Henry VIII's break with Rome and Elizabeth I's Protestant settlement. By the time James I arrived, Parliament was filled with Puritans eager to assert influence. James, a moderate, constantly found himself at odds with them. The Gunpowder Plot of 1605 briefly united Parliament and Crown, but James' extravagant spending and attempts to bypass Parliament by raising money through customs, loans, and monopolies infuriated MPs. When he dissolved Parliament in 1610 and again in 1614, it was clear the battle lines were being drawn. This conflict only deepened under his son, Charles I. Civil war ignites. Charles clashed with Parliament repeatedly, especially over money for wars with France and Spain. His use of forced loans and martial law turned nobles and commoners alike against him. Parliament struck back in 1628 with the Petition of Right, a landmark document asserting that taxation, imprisonment, and martial law could not exist without Parliament's consent. Charles ignored it, dissolved Parliament, and ruled for 11 years on his own. By the time he recalled them in 1640 to fund a war with rebellious Scotland, Parliament had had enough. The final straw came in 1642 when Charles stormed Parliament with armed men, attempting to arrest MPs. This bold move shattered any chance of reconciliation. War was inevitable. England split between Royalists, Cavaliers, and Parliamentarians, Roundheads. Early Royalist victories gave Charles hope, but defeats at Marston Moor, 1644, and Naseby, 1645, crushed his cause. By 1646, Charles was captured, and England lay in ruins, with over 300,000 dead. The execution of a king. Though Charles was imprisoned, Royalist uprisings continued. To Cromwell and the army, it was clear. As long as Charles lived, conflict would return. In 1649, after a controversial trial, Charles Thirst was executed, the first English king to lose his head to his own people. England was declared a commonwealth, led by Parliament. But soon, real power shifted to Oliver Cromwell, who ruled as Lord Protector. His Puritan regime banned gambling, drinking, Christmas festivities, and even women's cosmetics. Though strict and deeply unpopular, Cromwell turned England into a military dictatorship that reshaped politics forever. When Cromwell died in 1658, his regime collapsed. Parliament invited Charles II back from exile in 1660, restoring the monarchy, but the balance of power had permanently shifted in Parliament's favor. Colonies and expansion. While political upheaval rocked England, overseas expansion accelerated. Colonists built permanent settlements in Virginia, 1607, and New England, 1620, with tens of thousands crossing the Atlantic. Tobacco, sugar, and trade fueled growth, while brutal wars with Native Americans and rival Europeans shaped early America. In the Caribbean, sugar plantations became some of the most profitable colonies, but they relied on the Atlantic slave trade, which England soon dominated. This grim trade reshaped Africa, the Americas, and England itself. Meanwhile, the East India Company established a foothold in India, with trading posts that would grow into an empire. Tea, spices, and textiles enriched English merchants, making London a financial hub. Revolution and Empire. The late 1600s brought more upheaval. James II, a Catholic monarch, alienated Parliament and the public. In 1688, the Glorious Revolution saw James overthrown peacefully, replaced by William and Mary. From then on, Parliament reigned supreme, cementing a constitutional monarchy. By the 1700s, England was booming. The agricultural revolution increased food supplies, the scientific revolution produced giants like Isaac Newton, and banking innovations fueled global trade. The Acts of Union 1707 formally united England and Scotland, creating Great Britain. Abroad, Britain clashed with France in the Seven Years' War, seizing territories in America and India. The victory at Plassey, 1757, marked the start of Britain's dominance in India. Conclusion. In just 150 years, England had transformed from a kingdom torn apart by civil war to a global superpower. Parliament had established itself as the central authority, the monarchy was permanently limited, and the empire stretched across the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and Asia. The struggles of the Stuart era forged modern Britain, a nation that would soon claim the largest empire the world had ever seen.